Going on, everyone? Gormy here. Today I'm bringing you guys the top 10 saves to do come FM23 in the country of France. Going to be bringing you clubs at Ligue 1, and the National League level. So we're giving love to all three levels that are playable within FM. If you guys happen to enjoy today's video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is 100% free, so I want to hit that sub button. Without further ado, let's get into the first club. Coming in at number 10, it's Toulouse. Now, Toulouse is a club that, honestly, over the past 2 decades, they've been a league side. I mean, they did get relegated in 2000-2001 down to the national level, but they hit 2 promotions immediately to get back to the Ligue 1 level, and just recently went down to Ligue 2 and earned themselves back promotion up to the top league in France. They historically aren't a team that'll really, wow everyone. They have produced some solid players over time, like Andre Pierre-Gignac, Wissam Ben Yedder, Etienne Capoue, and I believe Albin Lafont also started at this club as well. And they still do have some solid players. One of those players being one of my favorite very cheap options that'll just absolutely dominate for you. It's Branco van den Boomen. This dude is very, very important to this side, especially if you are taking over Toulouse come FM23. He will be one of your key players. He's a good playmaker. He's a good free kick taker. He's really a set piece specialist for you. So he is going to be integral in the playmaking game. And then you have a youngster to build around, and Yanis Bagraoui, I believe is how it is pronounced. He is a 5'10" striker and is pretty solid. And even though he's 5'10", you can see in his attributes he has 16 heading. Now, that definitely is subject to change come FM23, but he is a fairly solid player. He has the early building blocks of the Holy Trinity of dribbling, finishing, and first touch, all being at a decent level. So this is a guy that you definitely want to hold on to. He is highlighted as the hot prospect at the club as well. So, I mean, if you aren't going to use him first season, definitely loan him out, get some playing time. Because as you can see up here right now, he is wanted on loan by a bunch of teams in Ligue 2. So, definitely an option there for you as well to make sure that he gets playing time. Now, when it comes to their facilities, they have great training facilities, great youth facilities, good academy coaching, and average youth recruitment. So already a very good club to take over. They are in Ligue 1, so keep that in mind. Your main goal is to fight against relegation. Make sure that you survive. And if you survive, props to you. And just keep on building on from there. Yes, the big dog that you have to take down is PSG. But give yourself some time, maybe get lucky with a takeover of a sugar daddy, and I mean have a bunch of money thrown at the club and really start to develop and kind of nick away at PSG's dominance in Ligue 1. Coming in at number 9 is Chatearo. Now this is a club unlike Toulouse to where they haven't really been a Liga side, they've been a Ligue 2 side. And as of last season, that was their second relegation down to the National League in the past decade. So, I mean, they definitely need a different visionary at the club. And I definitely believe you to be one of those visionaries to help bring this club to great heights. Now, this club is not like Toulouse to where they have an amazing playmaker and a young player that you can build around. This is kind of a overall squad that you are definitely going to need to improve on. You're not going to have a whole heck of a lot of money early days. Over time, definitely going to accrue it. But, I mean, early days, you're kind of going to have to focus on loans and free signings. Those are going to be your friends with the signing. And, I mean, if you are getting the right signings time and time again, they are going to be in Liga in no time. And I mean, you can definitely lead a club like this to glory, which I definitely think they are built for that to happen. If there is any player that you would try and focus on early days to try and develop and at least be a mainstay for you in Ligue 2, it is Ayoub Ezeotouni, I think is how you say that name. He's a 19 years old currently, but I believe once FM23 comes out, he'll be 21 years old. He's got some decent first touch, passing, and technique, so he is a playmaker. He will be your Branco van den Boomen for this club. But, I mean, otherwise, he's not really great in any certain areas, so he's definitely going to be a big-time playmaker for you. So definitely try and develop him to be the best playmaker he can be and then move him on for a profit in the near future. Now, when it comes to facilities, they have good training facilities, great youth facilities, adequate academy coaching, and average youth recruitment. The training facilities for the first team and the youth team is absolutely phenomenal to have at this level, which, I mean, you're definitely going to be able, like I said, to develop the players to get to that League A level sooner rather than later. And junior coaching, youth recruitment wise, you're definitely going to need to improve that once you get to League A, but do not focus on that until you have the building blocks set in place to where you are going to be safe at that level. Coming in at number 8, it's Red Star. The Red Star FC are actually a pretty historic club. They have won the French Cup on 6 different occasions, but the most recent one coming in 1942. So they really haven't had any terms of success since then. They have fallen way down the ladder within the French footballing pyramid, but find themselves back up in the National League. They were in Ligue 2 a couple years ago, but they are now back down in the National League, and your job is to make them a powerhouse once again within French football. One player that'll help you do that early days is Blondin Mayapaya. He is a very solid center back who is good with either foot. He's got 16 jumping reach, 12 hitting, 16 tackling. He will be, I believe, 22 years of age when FM23 drops. He is 6'4" though, so he is going to be a rock in the back for you, especially at the national level. He is going to be a great, great player to have, and make sure that you have that, stalwart defense that really helps you perform well within the league and maybe even make a French Cup run early days within the save. Now, when it gets to their training facilities, they have good training facilities and good youth facilities. They have average academy coaching and fairly basic youth recruitment. Now, training facilities, once again, that is phenomenal to have at this level, just like Chatearo does. But junior coaching, youth recruitment, once you go up in the footballing pyramid in France, you're definitely going to need to improve that. But just like at Chatearo, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you're kind of solidified at that league level before you start really investing into that, because once again, free signings and loans are going to be your friends with this save. Coming in at number 7, it's EA Guingamp. Now, this club is the definition of a yo-yo club. As you guys can see above me right now, for the league history, in the past 2 decades, they have played in Ligue 1, 2, and in the national division in France. So they have been all up and down the ladder within France over the past 2 decades. What they need is stability. Even though they kind of go up and down all around, this past year in FM22, which is currently what I'm doing this on, they had a little bit of money to throw around. And hopefully, come FM23, they will have a little bit of money for you to have at your disposal once again. Because, I mean, with that being able to, help bolster your rise early on, that'll be absolutely massive. Now, one thing that I like about this club big time is the youngsters at it. They have 3 players over the age of 30, which, I mean, that is very, very smart, because at this level, you do kind of want to find, the best youthful talents that you possibly can and then bring them with you to Liga. Now, one of the more important players for this save with this club is a center back by the name of Hadi Kamara. He is 6'6". He is going to be an absolute monster for you. The downside is he isn't that great in the air, but he's 6'6", so it kind of should cancel out and counter each other somewhat. So definitely still make sure that you're trying to hit him on corners early days, because, I mean, you will definitely improve from him sooner rather than later. Another player that you can build around who is pretty young is Johan Catalini. He can play center attacking mid or on the right wing, can also play left wing or striker if need be, but is mainly a center attacking mid or a right winger. I think that this dude, if you develop him correctly, could be an absolute world beater for you early on, and maybe even be an absolute beast of a super sub at the Liga level. Getting into the facilities, they have great training facilities, great youth facilities, adequate academy coaching, and average youth recruitment. So once again, training facilities for the first team and for the youth, absolutely awesome. You're really going to be able to develop those players, especially the ones I just mentioned. But junior coaching, youth recruitment, you will want to improve upon that once you have solidified yourself in Ligue 1. Coming in at number 6, it's Montpellier. Now, Montpellier were one of the last few teams to win Ligue 1 before the dominance of PSG happened. And in those days, they were a very, very solid club. But I mean, recent years, they've kind of fallen off from that. They've kind of become a, I would say, mid-table type team. But under the right tutelage, can definitely become a dominant club once again, like they were in 2012. Now, this is a club that never has a whole lot of money, but they do have some pretty decent talent. One player to build around early on in the save is Joris Chatearo. He can play defensive midfield or central midfield. He's pretty well rounded, but in my opinion, I would play him as a deep line playmaker, most likely from that defensive midfield role. He'll spray balls in to your wingers, up to your striker, even an attacking midfielder if you choose to do a 4-2-3-1. He is a very, very solid player. Or even if it's a 4-3-3, he will absolutely dominate with his passing ability. One of those players that he would be playing the ball to is probably one of the most important players on this team. It is Steffi Mavidi. He is a young English player who has some pace to him, has the building blocks of the Holy Trinity with dribbling, finishing, first touch. If his first touch were at that 14 rating, just like the finishing and dribbling is, he would most definitely have the Holy Trinity. So that is kind of up to you to develop that and make sure that he definitely achieves that. He did have a pretty solid previous season in reality, so we might see him get a little boost there as well. So he might actually have it come FM23. But he is definitely a player that you want to have be a focal point of your attack from the get-go. Getting into the facilities once again, the training facilities and youth facilities are both great, and the junior coaching and youth recruitment, once again, adequate and average. So a lot of these teams, you are going to have to improve at the junior coaching and youth recruitment level. But when it comes to the training facilities, you are set. You don't need to do a whole lot of improvement there, especially with this club, because it's at the great rating, which will definitely allow for you to develop your players pretty quickly early on as well. Coming in at number 5, it's FC Sochaux Montbéliard. Now, this club for short is known as FCSM, and they are known for producing some pretty solid young talents over the years. Nothing crazy, but they definitely produce some pretty solid young talents, and they definitely need to get back to that Liga level. Now, in FM23, they are going to be at the Ligue 2 level, and I mean, for a team at this level, they have a very, very good and well-rounded squad. Now, you're going to have two very good young attackers. One is Semi Farage, a young Algerian who is very, very solid, and another in Rasoul Ndiaye. Now, this guy can play central midfield, whereas the other one can play center attacking mid, but they can both play on the wings, which is good. Now, Ndiaye, he's not going to be as quick as the other guy, so probably play him at central midfield, but he has a pretty solid attribute distribution for a Ligue 2 level, so definitely keep him around. And now this is the first club when we get to the facilities that you really see that, yes, they do produce some pretty solid talents from time to time. They have great training facilities, excellent youth facilities, good academy coaching, and good youth recruitment. You don't have to worry about any of that for a little while. Once you are, stabilized within Liga, then yeah, try and focus on improving that a tiny bit. But I mean, at the Ligue 2 level, you're going to have the best facilities within the league. And with having good academy coaching and good youth recruitment, the first double in that out of all these clubs that I have listed so far, you are definitely going to be able to have the best youth intakes at this club out of all the ones that I have previously mentioned. Coming in at number 4, it's Paris FC. Now, Paris FC is a very, very popular save every year within whatever FM you are doing. They have seen themselves rise time and time again to get up to the Ligue 2 level, and they are trying their best to get to that Ligue 1 level to rival PSG. It's going to take a lot to be able to do that, but under your tutelage, you can definitely make that happen and have another club within Paris topple the giants of French football. Now, a good thing about this club is you're going to have an army at the Ligue 1 level to, really, really make sure that if you're having injuries, you're not in trouble. If you need to, play some younger players with some veterans, definitely possible. But this club does have a decent amount of younger players. They're nothing insane, but they do have some younger players that are very, very solid. One of those players being Mohamed Ben Gura. He is a young Frenchman, and you definitely want to develop him from the moment you start the save. And another one being Said Arab, who can play any attacking position possible besides striker and play in central midfield as well. So definitely make sure that you build around the previous player and Said Arab. Jordan Lefort, though, who has come over from BSC Young Boys, is going to be a very, very important player for you and making sure that you push for that promotion to Ligue 1, and he is going to be a very, very solid center back for you for at least the first 2 to 3 seasons. Now, when it comes to facilities, they have good training facilities and good youth facilities, average academy coaching, and adequate youth recruitment. So once again, this is a club that you will be able to, train your players pretty well, but once they get to the Liga level and are solidified at that level, that is when you start to really put some money into the infrastructure of the club. Coming in at number 3, it's FC Versailles. Now, FC Versailles are one of the more younger clubs on this list. They were founded in 1989 and are, building their way up through the French footballing pyramid. They currently find themselves in the national division, and previous season, they had a very, very solid cup run in the French Cup in reality. So definitely make sure to read up on that, because what I find really interesting about this club, they have to play all their games during the day, which I didn't really think was still done current day, but they have to play all their games during the day. Yes, their stadium has lights, but being that they play next to the Palace of Versailles, they can't have the lights on at night because it has something to do with some of the stuff that's within there. So they have to play all their matches during the day. Thought that was pretty interesting. Now, this club does not have an army at their disposal. You are definitely going to need to make some improvements early days. Loans and free signings are definitely going to be your best friend within this save. Now, one player that will help you big time early on is Jermaine Lens. He will retire sooner rather than later, so try and get the most that you possibly can out of him early on. He is not the player that he used to be, but he can still definitely contribute in multiple different ways. Now, FC Versailles, you really got to build from the ground up. Yes, their training facilities and youth facilities are not great. They're at basic. Junior coaching, fairly basic. Youth recruitment, basic youth recruitment. You definitely got to build that up. But they also do not have a trophy cabinet. They also do not have an army of a squad. This is the perfect opportunity on this top 10 for you to mold a club into your own and put your name in the history books as the manager that brought this club to the promised land. Coming in at number 2, it's AS Saint-Etienne. Now, this is one of the most historic clubs within France. 10 Ligue 1 titles and 6 French Cups to their name, but they now find themselves down in Ligue 1 once again, which they have not been in since the 03-04 season. Now, in my opinion, they do have some pretty solid youngsters, but this is a club that, yes, they're going to expect you to get promoted immediately back to Ligue 1. Definitely do your best to do so, but try and build this club with youth because they have plenty of it, and why not add to it? Seydou Sow is going to be one of your most important center backs. He is 6 foot. He's got some decent attribute ratings to him, so definitely build around him in the back early days. And Benjamin Bouchari is a very interesting player in that he is, I would say, borderline well-rounded, so you can definitely mold him in to whatever central midfielder you want him to be. Because he can play central midfield, he can also play on the wings, but he can also play center attacking midfield. So you really get to mold this player into whatever you want him to be. I believe he will be either 20 or 21 when FM23 drops, but definitely make sure that you key on this player and develop him into an absolute beast for you. And the player that is going to be the most important for you early on, and definitely if you end up moving him on for major money, is Etienne Green, a young English goalkeeper that is very, very well-rounded, especially for the Ligue 1 level, and he's 6'4". So in my opinion, that is my perfect goalkeeper build, 6'4" to 6'6", and is super well-rounded. You cannot go wrong with this kid in net. When it comes to facilities, they have excellent training facilities for the first team, great youth facilities, good academy coaching, and good youth recruitment. So you will definitely be able to build the club from within and develop your players very early on that you are wanting to develop and keep around the club. Coming in at number 1, it's Bordeaux. Now, Bordeaux is going to be one of the most popular saves come FM23. They are France's equivalent to Derby County currently. They're an absolute mess financially, and you really, really have to fix this club from the ground up. They have really, really bad salaries. They don't have a lot of amazing players. You will probably get promoted back up to League One immediately, but you definitely need to remold this team into a powerhouse financially and on the field. Now, this is a club that has won multiple Ligue 1 titles, multiple French Cup titles. They're down in Ligue 1, and you have a small squad, a very young squad as well. That is why I said previously, they are like France's Derby County, because Derby County in England, financial issues, major talent issues, a lot of young players are having to be used. That is kind of the same thing for Bordeaux. You will most likely, though, get promoted right away, use loans, big time first season, and free signings if you're able to, because I do not think you're going to have a whole heck of a lot of money coming your way. A player that could fetch you some money, though, but I would much rather keep around and develop, is Delaney Bakwa. He is a very solid young winger who will be very important early days. Another one being Tom Lecou. He can play defensive mid and central midfield, and once again, can fetch you some money or keep him around, develop him, and he'll be very important early on in the save. Now, if we're talking about players to offload due to their salary and for their value, from Sergio is definitely the player to go. He has 18K in the wage per week, and I believe he is valued around £8 million, so he is definitely one of the players to let go early on to try and reduce that debt bill. Now, when it comes to facilities, they have great training facilities and excellent youth facilities, so developing players is not going to be a problem for you. But junior coaching, youth recruitment, adequate academy coaching, average youth recruitment, once again, a club that definitely needs to improve there. But your primary focus is repairing the club financially. So once you are stable in League and stable financially, that is when you start improving the junior coaching and youth recruitment. So that wraps up today's top 10 video for top 10 clubs to do come FM23 within France. If you guys happen to enjoy, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is 100% free, so why not hit that sub button? Let us know down in the comments below what clubs you will be taking on if you are choosing to manage in France, and what FM23 videos you guys would like to see in the near future. But until next time, have a good one. Bye-bye.